All right, so get this.
Okay.
You know how sometimes you and your friends all swear something happened a certain way, but then it turns out you're all wrong?
Yeah.
That's what this deep dive is all about.
Okay.
The Mandela effect.
Right.
You sent in some awesome sources, articles, videos, even a guide on how to explain all this in Spanish
Wow.
from Fundora.
Interesting.
So are you ready to explore this cognitive quirk together?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay.
The Mandela effect is more than just a simple memory slip-up.
Right.
It's when a large group of people share the same false memory. And it's actually named after the mistaken belief that Nelson Mandela died in prison back in the 80s.
Whoa. I actually remember hearing about his supposed death back then.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild how many of us got that wrong.
It is.
He actually lived until 2013.
Yeah, it really highlights how memory isn't a perfect recording.
Oh, okay.
It's more like a puzzle our brains constantly piece together,
Okay.
sometimes adding in details that weren't really there.
So it's like our brains are telling us stories,
Yes.
even if they aren't completely accurate.
Exactly.
Wow.
And we have some prime examples of this from your sources.
Oh, cool.
Take the classic, "Luke, I am your father," from Star Wars. I bet you've heard that line countless times, right?
Of course, it's practically a cultural touchstone.
Well, prepare to have your mind blown.
Oh.
The actual line is, "No, I am your father."
Really?
Darth Vader never actually says Luke.
That's crazy.
No, right?
You know, it makes me wonder if our brains glom onto that Luke because it adds to the emotional weight of the scene. Like the idea of Vader directly claiming Luke as his son makes it even more dramatic.
That's a very interesting point.
Thanks.
It speaks to how memory often prioritizes feelings over accuracy.
Okay.
It's about capturing the essence of the experience,
Yeah.
even if some details get lost in the process.
Our brains love a good narrative.
They do.
Speaking of narratives,
Yes.
there's another example that always throws me for a loop. The Monopoly man and his monocle.
Right.
Everyone remembers him sporting that monocle, right?
I definitely did.
Okay.
But guess what? He's never worn one.
What?
It's one of the most persistent Mandela effects out there.
It's mind-boggling how clear these false memories can be.
I know.
And get this.
Okay.
Remember Pikachu from Pokemon?
Of course.
A lot of us remember that black tip on his tail.
Yeah.
But turns out his tail has always been completely yellow.
These examples really highlight how easily our brains can fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
It's like we have this inherent need to create a complete picture,
Right.
even if it means adding in details that weren't actually present.
It's fascinating how our brains try to make sense of the world, even if it leads to these collective memory mix-ups.
It is.
And there's so many more examples from your sources.
There are.
We have Mickey Mouse never sporting suspenders.
Right?
Kit Kat being spelled without a hyphen.
Oh, and don't forget, we are the champions.
Oh.
The original recording doesn't include "of the world" at the end.
That's right.
And
What else?
remember that iconic image of the tank man from Tiananmen Square? Many believe he was run over,
Right.
but he actually stopped the tank.
Wow.
It's a testament to how easily even widely circulated imagery can be misconstrued over time.
And I can't forget the example you shared from Spain,
Well, yeah.
the attempted coup d'etat of 1981.
Yes.
Many Spaniards believe they watched it unfold live on television,
Right.
but it was actually a radio broadcast. It's incredible how these instances span different cultures and types of media.
Absolutely.
So what's going on here?
Oh.
What are some of the explanations for why we experience the Mandela effect?
Well, the field of psychology offers some compelling insights.
Okay, so we've established that our memories aren't exactly high-definition recordings.
Right, yeah.
But what's the big deal about these Mandela effects?
Wow.
Why should we care about getting a few details wrong?
You know, what's fascinating here is
Yeah.
that these shared false memories, they actually point to something much deeper about how susceptible we are to suggestion and misinformation.
Okay.
It's not just about remembering the wrong color of Pikachu's tail.
Right.
It's about how easily our perceptions of reality can be molded.
That's kind of unsettling when you think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
if we can all collectively misremember something as basic as the spelling of Kit Kat,
Right.
what else are we getting wrong?
It really makes you question everything, right?
Yeah.
Think about the implications for eyewitness testimony in legal cases
Oh, wow.
or the spread of conspiracy theories online. If enough people believe something,
Yeah.
it can gain a life of its own,
Right.
regardless of whether it's actually true.
So we're not just talking about fun pop culture trivia anymore.
Oh.
this has real-world consequences.
Absolutely.
Right.
The Mandela effect.
Yeah.
It really highlights the power of collective belief.
Okay.
And how it can shape our understanding of the world, sometimes in dangerous ways.
This brings to mind one of the psychological explanations from the sources you shared.
Okay.
Confabulation.
Yes.
It's like our brains are trying to make sense of things.
Right.
Even if it means filling in the gaps with false information.
Precisely.
Wow.
And there are different types of confabulation.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's driven by a need to maintain a positive self-image.
Okay.
For example, someone might unconsciously fabricate details to make themselves look better in a story.
So it's not necessarily intentional lying.
No.
It's more about our brains protecting our egos.
Exactly. And then there's provoked confabulation,
Okay.
which often occurs when someone is repeatedly questioned
Okay.
about an event they don't fully remember.
Right.
The pressure to provide answers can lead to the creation of false memories.
This makes me think about the DRM experiment mentioned in our sources.
Yes.
Researchers give people a list of related words.
Okay.
Like bed, rest, awake. And even though sleep isn't on the list,
Right.
participants often falsely remember it being there.
It's a classic example of how our brains automatically make associations
Right.
and fill in the blanks, even if it leads to inaccuracies.
Interesting.
And while the ERM experiment is a powerful tool for understanding memory,
Yeah.
it's important to acknowledge
Okay.
that it's a simplified model.
Okay.
There are criticisms
Yeah.
that it doesn't fully capture the complexity of real-world memory processes.
So lab experiments can only tell us so much.
Exactly. In real life,
Yeah.
memory is influenced by countless factors.
Like what?
Emotions,
Okay.
social pressures,
Uh-huh.
cultural biases
Right.
that are difficult to replicate in a controlled setting.
This whole conversation has me wondering about the role of media and technology
Oh, interesting.
in shaping our memories.
Okay.
With the constant influx of information online,
Yeah,
is it becoming even easier to form false memories?
that's a great question. Thanks. And one that researchers are actively exploring.
Okay.
It's certainly plausible that the internet, with its rapid spread of information and misinformation,
Right.
is contributing to the prevalence of the Mandela effect.
Okay.
After all,
Yeah.
when you see the same fact repeated over and over again
Yeah.
in different sources,
Right.
it's easy to start believing it, even if it's not true.
It's like we're all participating in a giant social experiment on memory.
In a way, we are.
Wow.
And that brings us to one of the most intriguing,
Oh.
albeit controversial, explanations for the Mandela effect.
So what is it? What's this controversial explanation for the Mandela effect?
Well, this one delves into the realm of theoretical physics.
Oh, okay.
Parallel universes.
Parallel universes.
Yeah, it's the idea that there are multiple realities coexisting alongside our own. And sometimes these realities, they kind of intersect or bleed into each other, leading to these shared false memories.
Wait, so you're saying that those who remember Pikachu with a black-tipped tail might actually be remembering a version of Pikachu from a different universe?
That's the gist of it.
Wow.
Of course, this is highly speculative,
Right.
not currently supported by mainstream science.
Yeah, of course.
But for some, the idea of parallel universes,
Yeah.
it offers a mind-bending explanation
It really does.
for why so many of us share these specific, vivid, yet inaccurate memories.
I think what's most fascinating about the Mandela effect, regardless of the explanation, is what it reveals about the nature of truth.
Right.
And how we construct our realities.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It forces us to question our assumptions
Okay.
about what we believe to be true.
Right.
And to acknowledge that our perceptions are often filtered through our own biases and experiences.
It's almost like a humbling reminder that we don't have all the answers.
Right.
And that's okay.
Exactly. Embracing that uncertainty can be a powerful tool for personal growth.
How so?
Well, it encourages us to be more open-minded.
Okay.
To constantly question what we think we know and to be more discerning consumers of information.
So how do we apply this to our everyday lives?
That's a great question.
What can our listener take away from all of this?
I think the key takeaway is to cultivate a healthy skepticism.
Okay.
Not just about the information we encounter in the world, but also about our own memories.
Our own memories, wow.
So don't be afraid to question what you think you know.
Right.
And be open to the possibility that you might be wrong.
It's like that famous quote.
What's that?
The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the Mandela effect is pushing us to embrace that wisdom. Wow. In a world overflowing with information, that wisdom is more valuable than ever.
I agree.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
We've gone from quirky pop culture mishaps to exploring the depths of memory, perception, and even the theoretical existence of other universes.
It's amazing how a seemingly simple phenomenon
I know, right?
Can lead to such profound questions.
Absolutely. So to our listener out there, remember to keep those minds open.
Yeah.
Stay curious and don't be afraid to question everything.
Right.
Even your own memories. You never know what mind-bending discoveries might be waiting just around the corner.